On February 23rd, Venezuela's border erupted in protests. They were the culmination of weeks of political instability. Protesters demanded the Venezuelan government allow US-backed aid convoys into the country. The government refused, and Venezuelan security forces prevented anything from crossing into the country. The confrontations lit up Venezuela's border. Soldiers defected in Colombia, protesters were killed by live fire by the border with Brazil, hundreds more were injured, and property was destroyed. But it was here, on the Francisco de Paula Santander International Bridge on the Colombian border, where some of the most intense clashes took place. A US-backed aid convoy was refused entry, then caught fire and was mostly destroyed. Venezuela's opposition, as well as the governments of Colombia and the US, all claimed the Venezuelan security forces set the convoy on fire. But dozens of open-source videos and images point to another likely culprit: anti-government protesters who were on the bridge. And newly examined footage for this report shows that from a new angle. The Santander aid convoy attempted to cross from Colombia into Venezuela in the afternoon. Footage from a Colombian television station showed that as Venezuelan security forces retreated across the bridge toward the border, activists removed a series of barricades that had been set up to prevent entry. Despite the barriers being removed, the trucks were still unable to completely cross. CCTV footage from a Colombian border camera shows Venezuelan security forces using tear gas to force activists riding the trucks to back off. At this point, the convoy was caught in a sort of no man's land between Venezuelan security forces and the anti-government protesters. The first truck caught fire about an hour later. This CCTV footage plays an important role in figuring out who started the fire. While it doesn't show the moment the fire was ignited, when synced up with two other videos shot throughout that afternoon, we can start to get a clearer picture. One of the videos is from Noticias Uno, a Colombian newscast. Their footage shows a protester throwing two Molotov cocktails toward the Venezuelan security guards. While the first one, seen here in blue, flies toward the guards, the second one, shown here in red, comes apart. One part flies toward the guards, but the other part, still on fire, flies toward one of the convoy trucks. This scene is not in the CCTV footage. It was edited out. Newsy and Bellingcat requested an unedited version from Colombia's migration department, but received no response. But by using a third video from CNN, we can match the Noticias Uno video up with the CCTV footage and get each video on the same timeline. With that done, we can see that the convoy fire started on the CCTV footage about a minute after the Molotovs were thrown in the Noticias Uno footage. While the missing CCTV video means we can't say definitively that the truck was set on fire by the Molotov, it makes it the most likely scenario. Regardless, both sides almost immediately used the incident to push their own narratives. Supporters of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, as well as Maduro himself, claimed that the fire was set by protesters on purpose, in a false flag operation meant to make Maduro's government look bad. Those supporting Venezuela's interim president, Juan Guaido, including prominent US officials, almost immediately started blaming the Venezuelan security forces for the fire, claiming they purposely destroyed the trucks to prevent aid from coming in. But given this evidence, it appears that both sides had jumped to conclusions.